Does God really exist? Do we have any evidence to prove that He does? Well, let's find out. Do you believe in God? Why? How do you know that God exists? Can you prove it? Probably seems difficult and complicated, right? But you know what is easy to prove? Your love for our channel. So if you like our content, prove it by liking our videos, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the notification bell so that you don't miss any of our videos. And for the ultimate proof, tell your friends and family about us and share our videos with them if they have questions or are interested to learn more about the Catholic faith. Now, what would you say if someone asked you to prove the existence of God? Considering how popular atheism has become in recent years, it's not so rare anymore to have such conversations with people around you. But this isn't a new problem. The existence of God, who or what is God, what relationship we are supposed to have with that God, are all questions that have been on people's mind from the beginning of mankind. So does God exist or not? That is the question. Now, for religious people, it might seem difficult to know God apart from the religious texts or traditions. For many Christians, we know God because of our relationship with Jesus, or because of what we've read about God in the Bible. But even the Bible tells us that reading the Bible is not the only way to know that God exists. In Wisdom chapter 13 verse 1 to 9 and in Romans chapter 1 verse 20, for example, the Bible talks about the ability of man to know of the existence of God just by using his natural reason and intellect, or by observing and experiencing the world around him. Even many ancient pagan philosophers supported the idea that it was possible to know God exists just by looking at the natural world and trying to find an explanation for everything that happens. You might not have all the information or the exact details, but you could still make some educated guess based on the information you do have. For example, suppose you are in a room and you hear a loud crash coming from the kitchen. When you go to investigate, you find a shattered plate and food scattered all over the floor. Now, even though you didn't see what happened, based on the evidence, you can at least guess that something dropped the plate or knocked it over, causing it to break and spilling food all over the place. Similarly, based on observations from nature and natural phenomena, it's possible to prove the existence of God. One philosopher and theologian who really developed this idea was St. Thomas Aquinas. St. Thomas Aquinas developed the famous 5 ways to prove the existence of God, not through biblical proofs, but by using natural reason and human intelligence alone. In this video, we'll just look at the first one. In his argument from motion, Aquinas says that for everything that moves, something else must move it first. But there must be a first mover or an unmoved mover that is not moved but moves or is the ultimate source of change in things. The first mover or the cause or the source of change is what we would call God. Now, I know it's a bit confusing, so let's break it down a bit. What does Aquinas mean by a mover? A mover is an object or entity that initiates or undergoes motion. For example, when fire causes wood to burn, then fire is a mover. Or if a strong wind knocks a tree down, then the wind is the mover. Or if you forget your wife's birthday and cause her to ignore you, then you're in trouble. But you are also the mover. Now, some movers can also be moved. For example, when the fire burns the wood in a campfire, the burning wood in turn generates heat to either cook food or to warm people sitting around the campfire. Or when the strong wind causes a tree to fall and the tree in turn damages a car parked under it, then the tree is both the moved and mover. Or when you make your wife angry by forgetting her birthday and then she adds a little extra salt and chili powder to your dinner, then your wife is both moved and mover. Or think of a set of dominoes. When the first one is pushed, it causes the rest of the dominoes to fall. But there needs to be something or someone that pushes the first, or something that initiates the chain reaction of falling dominoes. So Aquinas explains that everything that changes or is set in motion is changed or moved by something else. One thing is moved by another thing, which is in turn moved by another thing, and so on. But this cannot go on forever. There must be something which starts or initiates the motion. The first mover. The first mover that remains unchanging and unmoved, but is the ultimate source for change and the initiator of all motion, is God. So, while the existence of Jesus and God as Father are not obvious just by looking at the birds or waterfalls and rainbows, It is possible, however, to use our reason and intellect to observe nature and things like the movements of objects or the changes they undergo and come to the logical conclusion that God exists. So, what do you think about this? Do you believe that God exists? Or do you have any arguments to disprove the existence of God? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, let us know by liking and subscribing to our channel. It really helps us a lot. Until next time.